Welcome to Loving Out Loud, how to improve communication, sustain sexual passion, and create lasting love relationships. My name is Paula Smith, and I'm your summit host. Loving Out Loud is about loving fiercely and showing up in a different way to create a new reality, one that allows you to access your deepest truths and desires. No matter where you are in the love and life cycle, Loving Out Loud is a prescription for awakening your heart, your mind, and your body to a deeper consciousness and a more authentic and intentional self-expression. Welcome to Loving Out Loud. My guest today is Dr. Adam Sheck. Dr. Sheck is a clinical psychologist, couples counselor, sex therapist, author, blogger, and also known as the Passion Doctor. He has been helping committed couples bring back the passion and reignite the spark in their relationships for over 20 years. He helps singles to understand and change their relationship patterns so that they can create and co-create healthy, loving relationships. He combines psychological and spiritual principles with just enough tantra to make it interesting as singles and couples connect deeply to themselves and each other. He has blogged about relationships and how we view each other in Relationship at Elephant Journal, Good Men Project, and his own Passion Doctor blog. Dr. Sheck is a man in the second half of his life who is direct, humorous, and has enough Brooklyn in him to get the job done. This is our recent conversation. So I want to welcome the Passion Doctor, Dr. Adam Sheck, to Loving Out Loud. Dr. Sheck, thank you so much for being on my summit.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm in great company, and I'm looking forward to listening to the other and watching the other interviews as well.
Yeah, we have a powerhouse crew on this time. This is my third summit, my first video summit. And, it just keeps getting better. We get better the more we practice, right?
Yes, true in our lives, in our relationships. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Adam, you work with couples, right?
I'm a licensed psychologist, and I'm also a certified Imago relationship therapist, as you know, and probably half my private practice is working with couples on their relationship issues. And really my specialty is working with long-term committed couples who have someplace lost the spark. They've lost that passion. They still love each other. They're still committed, and yet the romance is gone. The sizzle is gone, and they want it back.
So tell us, how do you do that? Because I hear that from a lot of experts, right? So how do you help the couples to get the spark back?
Well, I think it starts with understanding what passion really is. Because a lot of people just think of the sexual piece, the physical piece, and that's a big part of it, and yet that's an effect in some ways. Passion is really the freedom to express who you are. Fully, unfettered, full out. And when we first started relationships, we're more ourselves. We're or our best selves, if you will. So we're there, and we really want to express it, and everything is new and spontaneous. So there's a lot of freedom, and that's where the passion comes from at that point. And then over time, we take our partners for granted. We get comfortable. We get complacent, and we lose it. So it's how to get back to that first place, and that's the work. And I've got a few tools I'm happy to share in our interview on that for sure. It's important, I think, for couples to understand psychologically, and I think your listeners, viewers are very psychologically minded, or they wouldn't be wanting this, and probably spiritually minded as well, but to understand how couples come together, what the psychology of that is. And, as a therapist yourself, you understand this, but, the old cliche, we marry our mother, we marry our father. There's a grain of truth in that.
Right.
because as infants, as little children, we're sponges. We're absorbing everything that's going on, all the sights, the sounds, the colors, the vision, but also what is love. And love is how our caregivers, mother, father, whomever, many families are non-traditional these days, but whoever is raising us shows us that, models that, and we take it in, and we take everything in. So it's not just the good, it's also the negative qualities. All that goes into what we'd call an imago, which is just Latin for image. So we have this blueprint in our minds and our psyches of what that is. And when we run into that person, boom, it's like the radar comes up and we're in love. When someone's close enough to that, we're in love, and we're flooded with all the chemicals, oxytocin, which is very popular these days, the cuddle drug that, bonds us. Nursing mothers release it when we have orgasms. There's probably 100, 1,000 times as much. Oxytocin, phenethylamine, PEA, which is also in chocolate, so it's very popular. Of course, but we're on these drugs. So we're on PEA, which is like a stimulant, and then we've got oxytocin, which is more euphoric. So it's kind of like we're on heroin and speed at the same time, and everything is great. And we've been attracted to someone who has the best and worst qualities. In that beginning honeymoon phase, we only see the best. We're chemically altered, if you will, and we see all the great qualities, and we're drawn to them. And I think that's nature or God or the universe, whatever you want to say, is a way of keeping us together long enough to procreate and keep the race going on. And yet, now in our current society, we live a lot longer, and romantic love is an indicator. It's only been a couple of 100 years that romantic love has been there for us to, connect and make a choice of partner. So everything's great, and we're flooded with chemicals. And everything's cute and adorable, the way he leaves the toilet seat up and I fall in. Oh, that's so cute. And, at the beginning it's cute. Not so cute later. Or she lost my car keys and I can't get to work. It's not so adorable once the honeymoon ends a little bit. And now we get into what we call an imago, of course, the power struggle. And we see all the negative qualities. And we're wondering, what are we doing with this person? And that's really when people come in to see therapists or get some help from something, or decide, oh, I made a mistake, and they go on their merry way. And yet the same radar, that same imago, picks the next partner. So the truth is that conflict is inevitable, and we need to work it through. We don't need to, but if we don't, it's going to be same thing, different day. We're just going to keep picking the same partners. It's Freud's repetition compulsion. We're trying to heal our childhood by partner selection. So yeah, the passion's gone. And yet if we can work through those issues consciously and move into a conscious relationship, the next stage of relationship, now we can have a passion again. We can have an excitement, a passion, an aliveness, a joie de vivre that is even deeper than that honeymoon state that's more chemical. This is, got all of it. So the work, I know I'm talking a lot, but the work is about getting back to that state of being free to be yourself, to be able to share that emotional intimacy, of creating that safety so that I can be me and you can be you. And, isn't that what intimacy is? I'm discovering new parts of myself through my partner's challenges and stimulations and interaction, and sharing them. And I can't do that on my own. So I think the work is really connecting in that way. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense, Adam. Makes a lot. So what you're showing here, what you're illuminating, is some kind of roadmap that we can expect when we fall in love, which I don't think we knew that before. Or we knew it, but we didn't have as much, we didn't have someone like you to explain it so beautifully to us, that we're going to have a conflict, but that there's something on the other side of the conflict waiting to happen. And, and we could get back to that beginning beautiful stage. Do you find that couples, believe that?
I think, it's tricky because most couples, the research shows couples come in 6 or 7 years to counseling or chaplaincy or something, 6 or 7 years after they figure out there's a problem.
Oh, okay.
So the deck is stacked a little bit against us, because if we start on that, and yet I think eventually they do. There are some exercises I use with them that give them some aha moments to say, oh, they're not necessarily happy about it, but they get a feeling of, oh yeah, that's just like what mom did to dad, or that's just what, this or that. And they can see that there's something unconscious playing out too.
Yeah.
And again, it's like gravity. We don't necessarily have to believe in it to be the effect of it.
Right. Oh,
so it's some short changes.
Yeah, I love how you said that, because I was going to ask you to define unconscious. Because a lot, we throw that word around and you really can't see it. But you said it beautifully. We can't see gravity either, yet we know that it's in action. It's a real thing.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I find more and more now with the internet and Google and things that my clients, couples, and individuals are more sophisticated than they used to be. They're aware of more. They've researched more. They've read, my blog, your blog, or been to conferences like this. So they're aware even a lot of the neuroscience behind all this. So I always like to share a little bit of that. But yeah, it's because we're so triggered in society. It's such a stimulating, stressful situation. It triggers our autonomic nervous system. And, I could go into the amygdala is stimulating the sympathetic nervous system that sends out adrenaline and cortisol and the rest. But a lot of my clients seem to know these things already. So they understand there's a physical piece that's really below the level of consciousness, and they know that they can do some work to reconnect and deal with that. So yeah, I find people are more understanding and wanting to do something.
So what kinds of issues are couples struggling with that you see in your practice?
Well, I think the big issues, which are not rocket science, are usually health, sex, money. Couples look in because one perhaps is having some health challenges, and this creates all kinds of dependency issues. I need to take care of you, or I need to rely on you, or you need to rely on me, and it's challenging. Money is always a big stressor in life, and sex, of course, finding the passion, or they think it's about sex. I've had so many couples that haven't been physically intimate in 6 months, a year, 2 years, or more. It's just, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. And we just start with small steps. And I'm happy to share a few simple tools as well if we have time.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you do with the couples? I mean, what's your tool or tools? And I think I know, but I want you to.
Well, you've read some of my work, so some of it's there. I think there are 3 basic tools that I teach all of them. And again, we're not here necessarily to change their lives, but to open them up again. And the first tool that I use is really a simple, basic one. I think probably every therapist uses it. My third tool is one I think I invented, but I don't know. I didn't trademark, so I don't know. But appreciation is the first tool. Really getting couples to appreciate each other. As I said, when we first meet and we're courting, we're on our best behavior and we're admiring everything, and it's all new. And oh, you've got a beautiful dress. You've got a great smile. I really like the way that tie, makes you look rugged. Whatever it is, but we're verbalizing these things. And most couples, when I give them a simple exercise of appreciation, will say, well, he knows, she knows. And it's like, we still need to hear it. Because we weren't seen as children. So much of our wounds, our issues are about not being seen, not being heard, not being acknowledged. So simple appreciation is so critical. It's so critical to all of this. So it's a simple exercise. You have a couple think of perhaps 3 things that they appreciate about their partner, that they've done for them, or something in the day or the week, and just tell them verbally. And the distinction also is they'll take turns in sharing one thing or another, and the partner will mirror it back, just repeat it back, so they really feel heard. It's so simple. So, it might look as simple as, I really appreciate that you made a picnic for us Saturday. Thank you. And the partner would come back and say, you appreciate that I made the picnic. You're welcome. It's just that simple, just to take them down into their bodies again and feel that connection together. It's a simple thing. It takes 2, 3, 4 minutes a day if you want to do that. And couples that say, well, there's not a lot that I appreciate. It tells the couple they need to get busy. They need to start being there for each other and doing just small things. It doesn't have to be something elaborate, even just a simple, note in the morning, or writing a message in the mirror from a foggy shower. Just little things.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's all simple. We all know what to do. It amazes me sometimes that people need to come to see me and give me money for me to tell them things that they know. Oh, you want to have a great time? Have a great time. Oh, why don't you go away for the weekend? Oh, why don't you have sex with your partner? Oh, why don't you hold hands and laugh? There are deeper things, of course, too, but these are the basics that connect us all and that really get the job done.
Yeah. So, Adam, do you recommend, or how do you work with couples and the whole notion of like social media, texting and internet and phones, and do you see that in your work? Couples trying to like sending appreciations over the phone. I mean, through text.
Absolutely. I think that's just as legitimate. Of course, depending on generation, I'm 56, so to me it's different, but I think 20, 30, 40, I text a lot more too. My daughter trained me in that. But any way of reminding and connection that I'm thinking of you, that I'm holding you in my mind and my heart, is a great thing. I mean, there's a lot of shadow side to social media, and you read all about it, and social media prenups and other, I think they're kind of silly in some ways, but any way to connect is great. And in this world that's even busier and busier, social media is a great thing. In fact, sometimes I think this is sometimes dicey, but if I were to post on Facebook, I really love my partner, I love my wife, I love my husband, I am the luckiest person in the world, now you're bragging, now you're putting it out in there in even a bigger way to feel appreciated.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, if you start saying, oh, something too detailed or intimate, that's when couples sometimes get in trouble. But, sometimes a big gesture is nice, but a lot of small gestures add up. And, that's part of my second tip as well, which is based on the research of John Gottman, who's a well-known marriage and relationship expert who's done a lot of study on healthy couples, which are usually not the ones that come into our offices. There, we usually have people with issues, but he studied long-term couples, healthy, is a judgment, but long-term couples that seem happy to be together. And he came up with this notion from his research that the best predictor of a long-term relationship is couples that have a ratio of positive interactions to negative interactions of 5 to 1. So there are 5 positive interactions for every 1 interaction negative. And that's something we can all do a little bit more of. And I let couples know that early on and have them commit to taking more positive interactions, because it's easy to have negative things come out of my mouth. I grew up in Brooklyn. It's second nature to me. We need to bring consciousness. Again, a conscious relationship. What do I want to communicate? Is it kind? Is it important? Is it valuable? Is it the proper time to say it? Really just bring more into that. I mean, my translation of the 5 to 1 is more about having fun. Let's just have fun. Let's do things. Because again, fun is something we did as children naturally. We didn't have to contrive situations. And again, it's that spontaneity. It's that energy. If we get back to that childlike state, we have that energy of passion again, and we can use it for romance. We can use it for being productive in our careers. We can use it to have a deeper relationship. So that's exciting. It's having that fun. And in Imago, we talk about high energy fun, which is even bigger. It's really getting so over the top and into silliness that you're just having big belly laughs. You know, I know my daughter Alana, when she was little, like 3 or 4, she would laugh. Her whole body would shake. She would, you know, change colors. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, you could feel it. She was just full of that joy, and she still is. And for us to recapture that with our partners, to feel that in our heart and our bellies, it's being present. And that, again, lets out the passion, lets out the freedom. And people are reserved sometimes with that.
Yeah.
See, you have to be silly.
Yeah.
You know, I have couples play Simon Says sometimes
Wow.
at triple speed in the office, and just laugh because you're making mistakes and you're getting silly and you're moving around and you're getting frenetic, and it's exciting. And, you know, once they start laughing, it's a great thing.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the silly. You have to be silly. Life is serious enough, and I laugh a lot in you know, my counseling practice, because people are coming in with really serious issues, and I don't dismiss the seriousness, and yet if we take it all seriously and treat it that way all the time, we're all going to sink down into these low, you know, energy states, and the news is enough to do that.
Right.
So we're here to try and create more life, more aliveness, more passion, and that's my work. That's your work. I think probably everyone on your panel is wanting to do that in some way or another.
Right. So I know in Imago there's a concept of partners as healers.
Yes.
Right. Can you tell our watching audience what that means and how it looks?
Absolutely. As I said, we're drawn to someone who embodies those negative and positive qualities of our caregivers. And it's there not to torture us and penalize it, but for us to heal, for us to help each other. It's really, we could look at it as another spiritual practice, another kind of meditation. My partner perhaps has been wounded in the area of attention, so they've become more internalized because they don't trust that someone can give them that attention. And perhaps I'm wounded in the other area where that's all I can do. You know, it's sometimes we have to give what we need to receive. We have to play that dance. What's hardest for me to give you may be exactly what I need to do to practice to become a bigger, more 360-degree developed human being on that spiritual path of developing. Because it's nice to have externals. It's nice to have stuff. It's nice to have a nice watch and a nice car and a nice house. But ultimately, it's who we become. You know, it's who we become in this life, who we become in our practices and our relationships that has the value, not the moment as much as the growth to me. So relationship is that spiritual path. And, you know, for me, I'll tell you, I suffered plenty in dealing with my issues, and I don't regret it because I can feel it. And you know, earlier on in my life, I could just feel the abandonment issues creep up, which are big ones of mine. And I could end a relationship 5 times in my head in a day without even telling my partner. You know, so it's how do you feel grounded? How do you feel settled? What do you need to feel that connection? It just might be holding hands and looking into somebody's eyes for 5 minutes. It's something simple. It's not something you have to go on an elaborate vacation at a 4-star, 5-star hotel to do. So it's really giving what you need as well as helping the other. We're both totally separate, complete individuals. We don't need them to become whole, but we may need them to feel that, to let those parts of ourselves come out. Is that a good explanation for you? Or?
It's beautiful. And I'm just thinking about, I had a couple last night, and we were having this conversation, and you know, I sort of said what you said, but in a different way. And couples sometimes initially hearing that will say, well, what, you know, I don't want to give him, you know, I don't want to give too much because I'm afraid that they'll take advantage. You know, and, you know, last time I gave and I let go, and, you know, and then they took my trust and they abused my trust. So how do you speak to that? Or,
well, yeah, they're old wounds coming up again, and they need to come up. And yet, if I'm here in this present moment in time, I'm just here with you. I'm looking at a computer. We're having a conversation. There's nothing else going on in the world right now. If I'm with my partner, there's nothing else going on but me being with my partner. If I'm feeling afraid, if I'm feeling pain, if I'm feeling mistrust, it's because I'm in the past somewhere, remembering either in my body or in my mind that I was hurt.
Right.
And the whole thing about relationship is, which I do my best to explain to couples, and I think younger ones have more of a challenge with this. The relationship is about what you're giving, not what you're getting. Who you become when you give. It's like, whose love am I feeling? I can only feel my love. You may love me, but you're feeling your love for me. I'm feeling my love for me, for you, for whomever. I can't feel anybody else's feelings. So how can I give too much love? Why would I want to feel less of my love because I'm afraid something's going to change? And it's challenging the logic of it all, and knowing that it's about me. Not in a self-involved way, perhaps in a healthy narcissism, but it's about me and how can I have access to more of my love, more of my passion, more of my freedom. And yes, I'll be hurt. Yeah. And 90% of the hurt is not about what you're doing to me. I have to trust in partnership. I have to trust at some point that your intention may be different than the impact of what you're doing. And if I can give you the benefit of the doubt, then we can create some repair on that. Because we're going to do things that are going to trigger our partners.
Oh, absolutely.
That's it. We've got, we're wired that way for fight or flight. Again, the lizard brain, the amygdala fires, the sympathetic nervous system does its thing. What we want to do in this work is to create the relaxation response. We want to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system and get the cortisol and the adrenaline down, and kick up the endorphins, kick up the dopamine, kick up the serotonin, so that we can feel the joy in our lives.
Yeah, and it's so much to feel, isn't it?
It is. I mean, just talking about it, I can feel myself just drop into that place, and that's why I love the work. Yeah. And I can see in your face it's the same thing.
I love it. And I love doing summits. We open our conversation saying we were amazed that we haven't ran into each other before this at a conference but I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you and meeting you in person and sharing and getting to know you a little better. Are there any final thoughts that you have, or questions that perhaps I
have one more tip to give you if there's time for that, but I think it's the fun one to me, and it's couples take each other for granted and they go out of the relationship. My biggest tip, I think, for passion is called what I call all-day foreplay.
All-day foreplay.
All-day foreplay. I made that one up, and I don't know if someone's copyrighted it yet, but I think I'm the first one who made it all-day foreplay. And again, in America, the average couple has foreplay less than around 15 minutes these days before they engage in penetrative sex or whatever. And, that's average, so half the people are doing a lot less. Some would say, wow, how could you do 15 minutes? But again, that's just the sex part. What we want is to feel connected, not just in that moment when, our body parts are connecting. We want to feel connected throughout the day, throughout life. And all-day foreplay is about creating that expectation, creating that passion moment to moment. And, it may start the morning when you're waking up, letting your partner know, I got some big plans for us tonight. We're going to be having a lot of fun. So I want you to get ready. I want you to, put on your best clothes or put on your best underwear or whatever you want. And, start with that. And maybe you can slip them a note on the way to work in their purse or their briefcase or whatever it is. Just saying, I love you and I can't wait. Maybe you want to send a little email an hour or two into the day. I am looking so forward to being with you because I am gonna, and you can make it as explicit as you want or as tame, but you want to build the tension. You want to build the anticipation of what's going to be. And then, you're talking about texting. Yeah. Texting is a great way to keep that fire alive, the lunchtime text or sext. We're all adults. It's okay if you want to send a little risque message or a little picture of something. no harm, no foul. This is your partner. If you trust them with this, then send it and just keep building and building all day long until, you're right there. You're just ready to explode in that passion and that excitement for your partner and take it from there. Because, again, we don't need to be average. It doesn't take a lot. And those are things we did in the honeymoon. Those are things we did when we first were with somebody.
That's right.
We know what to do. So it's just doing it, and that's why we're here, to remind people, just as we need to be reminded too. We're all human, we all have blind spots, of doing what we already know, of trusting what's inside, our hearts and our minds and our psyches for sharing love and sharing passion.
Sharing love, sharing passion.
Mm-hmm.
Those are ingredients for loving out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Wow. So I know that our watchers will want to follow your work, Adam.
Yes.
And I also know that you're offering a free gift.
I am.
Yeah. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. If you go to my website, I've set up a special page, which I'm assuming you'll give them the link, but it's my website.
Yep, it's already underneath your video.
So it's there. We're ahead. Cool. Just www.thepassiondoctor.com/LOL. And what I'm offering, one is when you register there, you'll receive a special report, 20 Rituals for Romance.
Oh, great, great.
So that really will give you a head start on this. And then I'm also offering for your viewers for this Loving Out Loud conference, after you do that, if you email me and the instructions are on the page, I'm offering a 20-minute complimentary consultation for you. And that can be individual. We can look at your relationship issues, what patterns you might have you want to break, or you can do it with a partner if you want to do a short couples consultation to really get a handle on bringing your passion back. Wow. And that's my gift to your loyal viewers.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Adam Sheck, for being on Loving Out Loud. It's such a pleasure. I learned so much just listening to you this last, 25 minutes. So blessings to you. I appreciate your work. All the best. And thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure. I look forward to more.
Yeah, great.
Take care.